Well, hey Scorpio, how about a reading from your metal dog? I need a haircut, but I'm right here with you. It's my birthday, and I don't know, for a very long time, most of my adult life, since college, on my birthday, I wanted to do something that was about the larger world, about giving instead of getting, and that's the reason for the tarot card reading here today. I'm going to do a collective reading after this, but no doubt in my mind, I should do a Scorpio reading today. I've got some new tarot decks and oracle decks for my birthday from my family and friends, and let's see what they want to tell us. I'm going to have to look up these oracle cards because it's a new deck for me. Pretty much always look up oracle cards because they're always very specific to the oracle who designed the deck. Okay, anyway. We get a clownfish anemone and anemone. That's a sweet little relationship across differences. And then on the bottom, what do we have here? A bat. It's sort of an energy of the night here in this deck in general, but the bat is just quite comfortable in the darkness, hanging out. So we have like air and water here represented in these cards. Let's go ahead and look up the clownfish and the anemone and the bat. Clownfish and anemone, symbiosis, friendship, working together. The clownfish and anemone form a symbiotic relationship. The clownfish protects the anemone from predators as well as cleans and provides the anemone with, it's hard to say anemone, with nutrients from waste. It poops in there and feeds the anemone. In return, the anemone provides a home for the clownfish and also strengthens the clownfish's skin with its mucus. Working with a partner and utilizing each other's strengths can benefit both of you. That's a very intimate and embodied symbiosis here. Yeah, much about complementing one another with your yes, with your very bodily fluids. So I'm looking up the bat here, and I'm not sure why this is not this. Oh, this will tell me the order. Will it? The bat, page 49. Okay, that's helpful. It's like, okay, the bat senses, clairvoyance, nurturing, fear. Kind of a high priestess feel here with the bat. Many people fear bats due to their nocturnal tendencies in association with the vampire lore. Not us Scorpios though, right? However, the reality is they're fairly harmless and fascinating creatures. Sometimes your biggest fears are not as bad as they actually are. Despite their negative reputation, bats are nurturing creatures, living in large colonies and bonding close to their young and family members. They'll even go as far as caring for the sick or orphaned. They see in the night using echolocation. And drawing this card is a sign to keep your senses open and to be aware of your surroundings. Be receptive to the messages that the universe is sending you. Okay. Very much about relationships, connection, caring for others here in both of these cards. And also I'm getting a feeling of appreciating what, like in the clownfish and the anemone, like they're appreciating qualities in one another that are, distasteful to others. It's like so intimate here. So much connection and intimacy and embodiedness. Okay. Let's see here what the True Love Tarot wants to tell us. This is also a new deck, so I'm just jumping in here like a crazy person reading a new deck. 3 new decks. Okay. It's my birthday. I can do what I want. I've been saying that all day. All right, so we're going to do a birthday spread again. A release, embrace what was going on a year ago, what the tarot wants you to know that may be hidden from you, and what to hope for or what to expect in the year that comes into, I just turned 51, so the year of being 51, what's coming? Maybe this will be a reading for me as well, but I mean this as a gift for you. All right, so what to release? We're releasing the Princess of Swords. It's a very curious, chatty energy in the Princess of Swords. She's very curious. Like, she could be the one that's like going on Facebook all the time. She's really fascinated and curious mind in the Princess of Swords. So she might also be maybe up in her head and not in her heart. Letting go of someone like that is the feeling I'm having. I have this feeling it's not you. So this Princess of Swords, it doesn't mean you cut them out of your life, but perhaps you let go. It is the full moon, and so it's wise on a full moon to think about letting go. We manifested this moon 2 weeks ago on the new moon in Scorpio, and then you see your manifestation realized in a full moon, and then it begins to wane. And so this teaches me to let go of that big bright moon. It's so exciting, keeps me awake. The other thing that's happening tonight is a lunar eclipse. So it's a big night, so I want to do these readings tonight. I'm going to do the Scorpio one and then a collective one. So we're letting go this airy, curious, chatty, young energy or person. Okay? We are embracing a Six of Cups. This is a true emotional soul bond. It's inner child stuff. It's magic. It's light. It's authentic. To move from being up in your head, curious, this sort of coldness of the Princess of Swords, and you can see this. You can see this in her face. Like, she's not always, to me, cold. I don't always read air as cold. But her face it's like removed. And here we have two children beneath all these butterflies, sharing as equals, giving to one another. So it could be somebody coming in from your past. It's a sense of knowing somebody in a past life that you can have. I've had that feeling very few times in my life. And so if there's somebody like that is coming into your life. And the cups represent your heart, your emotions, this big offer of love, of true reciprocal love. That's transformative, all of these. And magical, I get, because the butterflies, they are the sails on the ship out there in the sea. It's moved by butterfly wings. So it has this kind of childish imagination about it. So you're supposed to embrace that. Again, I feel a very young, even though, you're giving up the Princess of Swords. It's a young energy, but you're not giving up the young. You're giving up the brain for the heart, in a way. The sword for the cup. Okay, so this card is, a year ago, November 18, 1 year ago. Where were you? What was going on in your life? This is to remind you, you were exhibiting strength. There could have been a Leo a year ago. There is definitely a sense of you having tamed your inner beast a year ago. Strength is a very powerful card in the tarot. And she has tamed this lion. The lion can represent your desire, your violence, the nature that is not safe for like a lamb to lie down with. And I like that she's sitting on the lion. I feel a little bit like I've interrupted them. She's like, what? I noticed that when I first pulled this deck out. Anyway, okay. So what the tarot wants you to know, that it thinks is hidden from you, that it needs you to know and to focus on. You may be aware of this, but you may have no awareness of it all. The Chariot. This is some kind of major movement. If you've been stuck, movement is coming. It could also be a Cancerian person, a person born under the sign of Cancer. So we've got Leo, Cancer. So there could have been a Leo a year ago and a Cancer's coming in. Your Leo might be a little bit of an intellect, and the Cancer coming in it's a water sign, 6 of Cups, a heart person, authentic, comes from their heart, has a feeling of a soulmate. Here, both very, the Strength card a year ago, that was a really intense, it was a need to rein yourself in some way, calm your nature. The Strength card is to rise to your highest self. And the Chariot is kind of like the opposite of that. It's like releasing all of your physical momentum, that movement forward. So if a year ago you were like, hold steady, girl, hold steady, boy. The tarot says, I think it's saying, you don't know it, but there's something coming. There's a big momentum coming in, and maybe you have permission now to go for it. It's an interesting, the faces on the Sphinxes, they're more interesting than normal to me. And also I see that bird on the Chariot. And the Chariot here has quite a cloak. It looks like wings, like butterfly, moth wings. Like it's like and it makes me think of the butterflies here as well. I'm thinking in terms of relationships, because we had the clownfish and anemone and the bat, both of which we learned when we read about them are communal. The clownfish in a very couple, their symbiotic relationship. The bat is a part of a community. It cares for others. That was what really came through for me with the bat. And also there's a kind of underlying sense of being, when you really know somebody, that the things about them that are off-putting, like that bats are dark in the darkness and creepy, and you don't want them to brush you with their wings, although they never will because of the way that they see, and they will quickly avoid running into you. The bat, like it's kind of like loving the creepy crawlies is the feeling that I'm getting here. And maybe it's loving your own creepy crawlies, the things about you that maybe you wanted to cut out, that you wanted to be rid of, but in fact you're being told to own them and to go with them. Where a year ago you might have been trying to control this. So the future is a King of Swords. There he is, the Philosopher King. I think it's funny how he's holding his sword. It reminds me of an image I study in my book. Very phallic, actually. Confident. It's a kind of the man spread posture here. So this would be you. Kind of comfortable with what you know, wise in the future. We will see more about that. Underlying is the King of Discs. the Ace of Wands, the Two of Wands, the Moon, the Sun. Wow, Judgment. Lots going on here. Big cards here, Scorpio. Lots of fire and passion and manifesting, and there's the full moon, and there's the Sun and Judgment. Woo, these are really beautiful cards. So even though we end up with the King of Swords in the future, there's all of this fire and manifestation and passion and willpower that you have put into this moon tonight. Yeah, that's what I get here, because we get the King of Wands, the Ace of Wands. I see this phoenix rising from the flames. Very Scorpio energy here, actually, in that particular image of the Ace of Wands. It's a new idea, a new beginning, followed by the Two of Wands. This is envisioning the world that you want to see. And so here is that full moon, that manifestation. Then you want to, when you manifest, I've heard, you then let go. And so here we are at the full moon in this moment of letting go. And then you get wish fulfillment, absolute happiness and joy in the sun. Like tomorrow when the sun rises, if you maybe do some kind of full moon release, if you've known to do that before you watch this reading, or on the next full moon, I don't know. There is ascension, there is judgment. That's another Scorpio card here for you. Well, let's find out more about this. That's interesting. We'll come back to... So you've manifested something. It feels very much like a relationship, but I don't really understand the King of Swords. Let's see if I'm able to clarify with this other new deck. All right, Scorpio. Let's see what we have for you. So you're releasing. I feel sleepy. And like I don't care. But I really care about carrying this message. So I'm sorry if I'm not crisp in my delivery. I feel very comfortable though in this energy here, and I feel the sense of mystery that I really enjoy as a Scorpio, of like, I don't quite know yet what's happening, but I have never done a reading where ultimately it didn't become apparent to me. This still feels like a complicated mystery that I need to figure out. Okay, Princess of Swords. Let's clarify. Let's go through this and see what we know. We're releasing her. How? How are we releasing her? There's the Page of Cups. Page of Cups, a little otter, a little flirty, a little light. The Empress. This is a red rose. That ideal. Is that a red rose? It looks more like a... It's a more complicated, like a peony or a dahlia. Like the Empress is earth. It's the ideal. She is the feminine, divine, feminine. Whatever that means to you. It could be an aspect of yourself. Thirdly, we get a Five of Wands, a competition. Look at these animals butting heads. That's a great way to represent the energy of a Five of Wands. A little chaos. It's fun though. Like I always think of a Five of Wands as like, yeah, like you're an athlete. You like to play sports. You're competing. It's very, very physical. The wands are very embodied. So, Princess of Swords, clarified by the Page of Cups, the Empress. And there's some kind of competition between like a flirty one and like there's two very different kind of energies here that you're looking at or that are looking at you. One is this light, flirty one, young. And the other is the Empress, like a fully formed, you know, the peak, the queen of all queens. They're very different ages, I'm going to say. And yeah, that's so funny that's coming in like this. Sorry if you don't want a relationship reading. I didn't want a relationship reading, but it feels like one. Some kind of competition between two energies who are looking at you. And in some way, you're being told to let go of all of this. Just let it go. Let it all go. It's not about you in a way. That's what it doesn't have a heart to it. The Page of Cups is too light, too flirty. The Empress, you know, she's coming in real somber. She's complete in and of herself, really, the Empress. This could be two aspects of one person who comes across as a Princess of Swords. And so there's a person you're being told to release because they're heartless in a way. Like they're a lightweight. They're Page of Cups. And they're also like completely self-satisfied. They're the Empress. They flirt and then they don't need you. And like overall they're kind of cold. They're just kind of curious. Like I really have this feeling like she's playing with you, you know? So Scorpio, there's somebody who is the Empress is quite compelling. In part because she's magnificent because she doesn't need anyone. She's got it all together, and she is the Queen of Queens. The Page of Cups, the flirty one, the flirty side of this Empress, is good at flirting. It's fun. But it seems like there's a push and pull between I'm an amazing Empress, but I don't really need you, and this flirty come here. There's a real come here, go away feeling in this person. And overall, they're just a Princess of Swords. They're not mature. There's a lot going on in their heads. They might be fun to talk with, but they're not. I feel like their heart is not here for you. I don't know who that could be. Thinking of my Scorpio family, and I don't know. So there's this, it doesn't have to be your partner. It's somebody that I feel like they're a little bit messing with your head. They're confusing. They're messing with your head. Okay. Instead, why don't you embrace this soul connection with this other kid? This other one is another young feeling person who's really, they do really have a heart. Yeah. This may be that you shift your attitude in love. This could be you who's shifting from being up here to here, right? So if you're releasing being up in your head and being torn between flirting and being, I don't need anybody, like that could be you. It's either you or somebody in your life. So we're moving to a very different energy of super sweet connection here. It's like the clownfish and anemone. I mean, she's feeding him with they're feeding one another slime and poop and in the deep sea, and they're protecting each other and they're keeping each other safe. And so very snuggly. And it's like, I totally appreciate your poop, even your poop. That's what's going on in this embrace. This is somebody that really gets you. This is a heart person. And this is going to feel like I've always known you. And it could be moving from your mind and your heart. That's another way to read this. Okay. This is about self-acceptance too. Yeah. This is like, I'm the clownfish to my anemone. You get what I mean? Like the bat in the cave where all the other bats get her. Like this is where you get to be your authentic, beautiful, weird self. Six of Cups is one of those cards. So let's clarify. Knight of Pentacles. There's that slowpoke knight. Look at him. He's so noble, and he's the A student, and he has the plan. He's a good boy, this dog, the Knight of Pentacles. He's a good boy. True blue. A little slow, though, right? Could be a little much of a planner. What else do we have here? Ace of Wands. We saw this before. This is a creative beginning. Yeah, it's like a little tree budding out. It's like a little cherry tree. It's its first year planted in the garden. It might bear one cherry this year, but it's going to start bearing, and it's going to bear more and more cherries every year, and it's going to get bigger and bigger and bigger. So there's a feeling of slowness here, of something that it's going to take time, or that has already been taking time. And a Five of Swords. The Five of Swords. You have two fives down here. That's interesting. So the Five of Swords. This is, you've won, but there's regret around how you've won. And there is an opportunity in the Five of Swords to release regret, to quit doing that regrettable behavior. It can be self-harming. So you could see the feathers there. You get a sense that something very violent happened here, and then people walked away from it. They put their weapons down, they stuck them in the sand, and they walked away from the scene here of trauma. Yeah, so this is about you, perhaps with this heart connection, or just perhaps within your own heart, healing very slowly. Like it's so slow. It's like you're the new cherry tree that's just going to put out one cherry this year. Knight of Pentacles, very slow, coming from this trauma. It's why there was what you're releasing, this being up in your head, not being capable of really giving your heart, just kind of playing around maybe with hearts, being curious, detached, not serious, moving into a much more serious Knight of Pentacles, dependable, steady, steadfast beginning. You've put some kind of work into your heart, to healing from whatever happened here. This is a scene of trauma that you've walked away from. It may be something that was a mess you caused, or you may have survived it with having lost a few of your feathers. Five of Swords it's a feeling of self-harm. And some people call it the headache card, but this is not a headache card. This is a trauma, past trauma. And the Six of Cups speaks also of the past. So that's what I see you embracing, is your heart that you've healed, that you're beginning to, Ace of Wands, it's just beginning to bear that very first fruit from all that work that good old slowpoke Knight of Pentacles put into healing from that trauma. Okay, yeah, so a year ago, you had strength. You needed that, I feel, to come back from this Five of Swords, whatever that was. I know what mine was. Mine was at work. Yeah. What was yours? Yeah. Okay, so a year ago, strength. rising to your highest self. You wanted to fuck it all up. You wanted to take no prisoners. You're a lion. You could have. You're like the king of the beasts. And you really could have taken some people with you, whoever they were, the ones that hurt you. Whoever took a bunch of your feathers off you here in this scene of trauma a year ago. You rose to your highest self instead. You calmed that beast in you, and the lion can also be very noble. Yeah, so there's you calming that beast and that using all of your strength. And this makes me think about the bat, this bat, this misunderstood bat, who's actually just a sweet creature that cares for others, that lives in a cave of other sweet creatures. It makes a real community. Like, there's a feeling of this bat alone, and that's what I feel in this strength card, is you alone, but really rising to your highest self alone. Okay, so to clarify that, there's the Queen of Pentacles. She knows her worth. She is this beautiful deer. For some reason I think of Bambi's mom. That's funny. And that was like a big deal when I was a kid, because we went and saw Bambi. I think we saw Bambi at a drive-in theater, and it was like one of the first cartoons that we ever saw, my sister and I. And it was always so uncomfortable. Like, when you're in the 70s, you didn't go to like a theater for some reason. We didn't until Grease came out. That's my memory. I don't know. Now I'm thinking we saw A Star Is Born, the 70s one. But anyway, Bambi. So like, when I see Thumper here in the image too. So, spoiler alert, Bambi's mom dies. And there's a scene of the fire and the hunters, and it's traumatic when you're a little kid. Watching Bambi that's a big deal. It's kind of like the trauma here. Yeah, so this could be like a very old trauma that you're dealing with, because this story is coming not randomly. This story is for you. And what was so important to us when we were little girls was that our dad cried, and there was like a big buck, the father, who was grieving Bambi's. So Bambi's dad is sad because Bambi's mom gets shot maybe by a hunter. I can't remember. And we didn't even really look at the screen, because when we looked at our dad, he was crying. And it was a big deal, because our dad was like a little guy, but he was a tough guy that it's like we'd never seen him cry. And so forever we would say, remember in Bambi, and Dad cried when Bambi's mom died? And so there's something here very old that goes to that kind of revelation that you can have, that your parents have feelings, that they have hearts and emotions here. But the Queen of Pentacles is, as a card, also she's very much about security. She's very much about self-worth. She often I think of her thinking that she needs somebody else to provide her with security. So let's see what else. That was a long story. Well, she gets a big hunky Hierophant here with her. There's the Hierophant, Mr. Structure. Look at all the points on those antlers. He has 2 keys. He is a teacher. He has a key to knowledge. Wow. So it looks like you really went through a process this year of facing that Bambi story, that trauma, of coming to know your worth. And it feels like you had support, structural, fairly big security support. Like, the Queen of Pentacles' need for security is in this spread being met by the Hierophant, who's not her husband, although he can symbolize marriage. He's all about institutions like the church, the state, but he can also just be like a teacher. So let me pull one more card. The World, an ending and a beginning. The World. Wow, what a big year. Something ended and something began this year. And in it and through it, you had like, you were like this much of a badass. You just stood there nobly, wisely. You knew your worth. You rose to your highest self. You conquered this desire to take it out on others. What a year. It has been a tough year, hasn't it? But you handled it beautifully. It was a major ending, but you handled with strength. Okay, what's coming? That's what I feel like. The Chariot's coming, and the Tarot wants you to know. So we have 2 cards for your future. There's some kind of powerful movement coming, or that you get to now let go of all of this self-control that you've been exhibiting as you went through this year. I mean, we've got lots of responsibility on the table here. So I'm happy to see the Chariot be like, let's go, let loose, cut loose, Scorpio. Let's see. It's been an austere year. I didn't mean to rhyme. But it has brought you to your heart and to your passion. Here we get 8 of Pentacles. The little beavers building their dam. This is about work. The work you put into yourself, but also it could be like your workplace. Learning something new, being a master of your trade. One or the other, both. So yeah, these beavers they're working together, and that there's so much togetherness. Like, you've had help this year. You have help right now. And it's like an equal kind of help, like the 6 of Cups. Like, somebody's been sharing with you. The clownfish and the anemone, They have like a little simpatico relationship going here. You've had help. A couple of beavers here. Page of Swords. That's interesting. This is the same card as your release. So you get the Page of Swords. This is your release. This is what's hidden. It's such a very different Page of Swords, isn't it? It makes me think of the Tarot of the Wild Unknown. It makes me think of an 8 of Swords, because so this butterfly, he seems to be just coming out of the cocoon. There's an aspiration here towards this truth, that you can see her flying up and taking hold of that truth. One more. A 5 of Pentacles. Sense of abandonment. Poverty. That tree heavy with snow. Cold. Alone. That's a 5 of Pentacles feeling here. It's very different from the energy that we get of, this is what we're clarifying, the Chariot. It feels very still. But there's a Chariot here coming. I feel like that's what the perception that like nothing is happening. That's what your perception is, but something's coming and you can't see it because it just feels like it's winter. And everyone's like, when you're a single person like I am and everybody goes on, like it's Thanksgiving and everything's closed and everybody's home and the streets are empty, it can feel very lonely. And like it's like the feeling in those movies about after the end of the world and everything's just broken down and empty and there's nobody. And you can see like tumbleweeds rolling through town. It's that kind of feeling. And I want you to know that the tarot says you're just working along, trying to get, this truth, this page of swords. Like you think you're doing your work, you're thinking your thoughts. You feel the solitude, the stillness, the slowness, like all of the willpower that you've been putting in. And you should just be listening, because out in the distance, you're going to hear the horses, you're going to hear the wheels, you're going to hear, something is coming. And you're not aware of it because it just feels like this right now. It's just blah, nothing happening. I'm just working. I'm just thinking something's coming. I can feel it, like I kind of have goosebumps. Like I can just hear it, that rumbling and that creaking. It's like the Wells Fargo wagon wants to come in here into my mind. It's like it's a good thing coming. Okay. I mean, I need to clarify this because the feeling I have is so much about the heart. And here we get this King of Swords with his man spreading going on here. Usually I like the King of Swords more than I'm liking this feller. Let's see. What you got going here, Mr. Man Spreader? What's your future, Scorpio? I'm taking a nice slow time on this reading. Let's see. Ooh. There's a Three of Swords. There is a broken heart, a betrayal. Hold on. Don't get scared. Don't get upset. Temperance. There's healing. This goes with my sense of a King of Swords. And Judgment. We've seen this twice now. Ascension from this. This is huge. This is a big... Yeah, the world's here. Judgment's here. Wow. What? We don't yet see this Chariot even in this future that we just kind of get the same feeling, except for the Chariot, of austerity, of responsibility, of slow movement, healing. There's divine support here. Yeah. I mean, I think of the King of Swords as like, when I don't look at him, this particular image, like of this man spreading king here, like I think of him as like, he's wise. He has gone to war. He has used that sword, which is his mind. And I always think of him as having like learned that the sword is limited without the heart. And so moving from a Princess of Swords, or like, which is a page, to the King of Swords is you release the princess, you get your Six of Cups, you move from strength, you get this Chariot is going to come in. I feel like the Chariot comes in after this King of Swords, who has experienced the pain of a Three of Swords, who has healed it with divine help, temperance, and has ascended to a place where the mind without the heart, he knows you need your heart with your sword. You need the cup with the truth. And the only card we get on the bottom of the stack is the Magician. The Magician uses all 4 of the tools. You can see the symbol of infinity. You can see the cup, the sword, the pentacle, and the wand, all 4 of the tools there. So it kind of reiterates what I just said. It's not enough just to have a sword. You need, you have an Ace of Wands here. The 6 of Cups implies that there is a cup for you as well, the heart. So you get the cup, the wand, the sword. Pentacles are here with you. You have plenty of pentacles. To go back to what we saw on the bottom here, it was a King of Discs, the counterpart to the Queen of Pentacles that we see here. There's that Ace of Wands twice. There's 2 aces of Wands. They're, to me, like, wands are like so different, almost opposite to a sword. Although, as one reader, I like Alex's healing. She always is like, oh, there's pokey things on the table, and she talks about Scorpio stingers, and are you going to use your stinger? So she'll see a sword and a wand as like, pokey things, in a sort of with an innuendo, and the sword is like a Scorpio stinger. There's this manifesting that goes with the Magician of making the world that you want. And under the moon, we have this coming in. We have mystery, confusion. There's something that we can't see yet, and it's this Chariot. There is happiness here after the moon. Tonight, the moon. This is absolute happiness and authenticity. The message of the 6 of Cups is reiterated for me with the Sun. And then you have Judgment here twice. You've passed this level of the video game of life, and now you get to move up to the next level. And that is coming in, and that's the energy, the Sun and Judgment. These are the energy of the Chariot. And that's why this particular chariot, the Sphinxes are not moving. They're waiting to move. That's the thing that I was supposed to see. Yeah, they're waiting. There's that bird. There's the bird. They're waiting for you to finish what you're working on right now before you get to have that Sun and that next thing that's coming in. All of this work that you've been doing, the Oracle tells us you're moving into togetherness, both with another, with your simpatico clownfish anemone relationship, but also with the community that the bat lives in. And so that's why we see this process of you, very steady, very austere process before the chariot stands up and rides towards you. And then you'll hear the horse's hooves, you'll hear the squeaking of the chariot. You might hear the crack of the whip if you're that kind of Scorpio. But first you have this healing to do. You have to remember that the mind without the heart, you're just a page. The King of Swords knows that you need a heart before you use your mind. You need to use your mind in a way that connects here. And then you're going to be released, the Sun here is, I see so much wisdom in the Sun, the eyes and the pyramids, and in the Sun. There's the knowledge of how to be emotionally fulfilled. This is a wish fulfillment card in the tarot. Often there is a baby riding a horse. This is, you know who you are, and you are in this beautiful place. This is where you ascend to. And this is a beautiful judgment card. This angel, the birds, the people reaching up, aspiring to the sun. There. That's what's coming. Keep going. Keep healing. Keep. Temperance is here. The Knight of Pentacles here. It's taking longer than you want it to. I can totally relate to that. But you're going to get to the end of this level. That's right here, right? There's the world on the table. That's something you're going to finish. It's going to end. So, Scorpio, I hope this has helped you. It's helped me, although I'm not super happy with slow. I'm ready to hear the Chariot right now. I want to hear that, Chariot. I want that for you. I want my clownfish and anemone. I want my bat cave. So, I'm ready for that. But I see and I can feel for you and for me maybe, that the process of healing from this trauma, this seems very old. Remember I told you about Bambi for some reason? It can be an old hurt. There's lots here to say that this is old. Nobody wants to know that. The moon is here. Six of Cups is here. It's like, it's a moon journey that you are in the midst of. And you are being amazing going about it. Like the Queen of Pentacles, perhaps with the Hierophant. I really feel like you have help here. You have help. And if you don't have help, you're amazing. Because this is a very, mostly solitary journey that I see. You're vacating painful places. That just like a feeling here, emptiness, places that you have left that you're done with. Some more of that feeling still here. The divine support that's coming through with Temperance. I think I'm just being repetitive at this point, Scorpio. I don't feel like there's anything I'm missing. So, may this message help you. Have a beautiful day.